Hey George, this is Dale. I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. It's kind of hard because what I want to share it would take a long time. It would take several hours to really describe what I really want to describe, but I'll try to give you a Reader's Digest version. Why I'm talking to you is I had a profound experience back on February 3rd that I want to share with you. I haven't heard of any of this type of experience from anybody, any story out there, any spiritual guru or anybody that's having this kind of profound experience, including yourself and others. What happened to me on the February 3rd was so profound it shifted even my biochemistry. For 55, almost 56 years, I was kind of in a low depression state, not wanting to be here. I had an activation back on July 23rd, 2002, which is part of this whole story, which opened up a portal and created a time loop that I'm going to share with you just in a second. And I didn't know that until now, after I've integrated what I just went through. I shared with a little bit about myself back in our session back in a year ago, May 18th, I think it was, last year. Me and my wife do session work here in Sedona with individuals and couples for a private retreat company. And we teach them a 5-step process, which we call quantum integrative healing. Gives them a 4-body alignment. They understand that how they create from a soul perspective all the way down to the law of attraction. Without knowing the soul script, which is from the soul level, the law of attraction a lot of times doesn't work, because what you want is not necessarily what you get. You get more of what you need. Anyways, they walk away with a different perspective on life, how they've created a soul script with role players, soul family, karma stuff. But we don't get into really the imposition, especially with newbies. We get a lot of newbies that come here. But now that I'm aware of all the agreements that we make, and that's part of what I came to. Obviously, you talk about that. But also, it's getting a little windy here. I come to understand and have gotten insights from my experience how deep these agreements go. And I've been able to unravel my own 3D matrix, which I know you do. But I know to a greater extent that I'm aware of that you understand. And that's another reason why I want to share this with you. Possibly, it's not in my expectation, but possibly down the future, my human self would love to work with you, because I think I have some different pieces to the puzzle, and also helping people to move through their emotional stuff. I have a great process that we've I've downloaded, uploaded, whatever came, insight. Me and my wife put together a 5-step process. Anyways, so getting back to February 3rd this year, my profound experience. That day was a very interesting day. Sorry, this is not going to work. Let me put that down. So I wanted to share a few diagrams. Anyways. That day was a Friday. I had a friend over, her name is Lois. We were sharing a story about Horus, Isis, and Osiris and Set. And I know that my left eye injury that I have, and my actually right eye injury as well, direct relationship to what happened to Horus, at least the story that I know of. Anyways, I just found out about a new version of the story, which I didn't heard, that in the battle between Set and Horus, that Set put the sun in his left eye and the moon in his right eye. In fact, I have a portion of my retina, my right eye, a moon-shaped area that I don't see out of. It's fuzzy, and then my right eye has been blind for quite a while, but now it's starting to heal because of my experience. And that just triggered me. I said, whoa, it doesn't mean I was Horus. I just carry the wounds of that, his wounds. And so that triggered an event that day. In fact, Lois, our friend, She's never heard that story, and when we shared that with her, my wife and I, she says, anytime I hear of Egypt, I just want to crawl out of my skin, because every time I think of that, I feel like I'm being cut up into thousands of pieces. I go, whoa, that's the story of Set when he killed Osiris, chopped him up in thousands of pieces. So anyways, that kind of triggered a whole event. That night I went to bed at about 10 o'clock. Me and my wife sleep in separate rooms. As soon as I hit the bed, bam, I was like pulled out of my body like a black hole, like no other experience. It brought so much fear, and I'm not a fearful person. It was almost like I was going into non-existence and dying at the same time. I can't describe in words how it felt, because it was so terrifying. In fact, it left me with PTSD and actually being bipolar, because it felt like my body was anchored here, but everything of my entire being was pulled out. And I came to realize later it was a dark agreement that I had with the dark, that in any other cycle of this time loop that I'm going to talk about, it took me out. In other words, it was my exit point. But this time I had evolved enough through what I come to know as 80 different times through this time loop. I was evolved enough that I didn't leave. But what happened was, it was like a flash. It seemed like, I don't know how long. I really don't know how long it was, but I couldn't control it. Every time I tried to control it, I would lose that thought, and it was so terrifying. And finally came back into my body, and the immediate impulse was to write everything down, because I had no electromagnetics to hold on to anything. And all these insights just came through. And it went in spurts that whole night. In fact, the next night, the same thing. I didn't sleep for a whole week. I was left with channeling so much energy through me. It was overwhelming my nervous system. In fact, I had to recalibrate all of my systems. Even my biochemistry changed. I wasn't producing much testosterone before that. I hadn't even had body odor. After that, I had body odor. I had libido. I had all this testosterone. I was like an 18-year-old. But more than that, all these insights came through that I wrote down, and came to understand how this 3D matrix works and how to deconstruct it. And I know that's my purpose, why I'm here, and I know I'm on completion, and I know since then, it took me 3 weeks to integrate, and it was really challenging, but it happened, and I'm back into my body. But I've released everything that when I came back into the 3D aspect of me. I had to release the remainder stuff that I was still holding on to. I went through rage for 3 days, but anyways, I'm through that, and I just wanted to share with you that story. And honestly, I just want to connect with you, because I know we have some similar stories and experiences, yours from a different perspective than mine, but I know that your information is true. I have a different perspective a little bit because of my own experience, but it's like I have a kindred spirit with you, and I know that our missions are very similar, and I know I'm here to spread this information and help others to move out of the false ascension process and more into completion. The ones that are ready, obviously, they're not all ready. I think there's 3 options. What's going to happen is, first, the 3D people that are really immersed in 3D are going to leave their body and go to another third-dimensional experience. Second option is to go into the false ascension process with the galactics. And the third is to complete. Now, I think the third option is there's not going to be that many of us, but I know that's why I'm here, and I know that's why you're here, to help those ones that are ready to complete. So I wanted to share that with you, and I wanted to share on this easel this is going to be my teaching to my advanced students. Let me see if I can get this set up. This is kind of a diagram of some insight that my higher self gave me even before I met you. I was in a vision. I was outside of the universe, and now I'm calling it my infinite self like you do, was peering into our light universe and knew that I was projecting an aspect of me. And so I know I've been my infinite self for quite a while. But here's the time loop, okay? This is September 2001 when everything went really dark. This is when I had my experience in the King's Chamber on July 23rd, 2002, where I opened up the portal. I didn't know that then. I thought it was just an activation. And then this is February 3rd, 2017. And I created a time loop. 80 different times I know I went through this time loop until this time I stayed. So now we're continuing a new timeline. So, and here's some other diagrams that I'm going to share on my teaching. Bear with me. And a lot of it's part of your teaching. That this symbol right here I was given without this line here. Infinite self, light universe. This is the infinity car symbol. Interesting, huh? And then this is the infinite self projecting itself down to our universal, melding with the universal creator aspect of ourselves, infinite self, merging like you talk about, and then there's a light universe. And then this is the merged, between, with us and the universal creator. Now we project into our higher self with the seventh dimensional. That's my understanding anyways. And then this is your diagram. The light universe, the great void, the higher self, and the lower self. And then this is the cross-section of one of these dimensions. And just like you talk about, the sine wave and the bandwidth and so on and so on and so on. But here's the interesting part that I wanted to share with you. There's the sine wave, and this is the polarity that I'm going to be talking about. And you talk about this, the 7 chakras and the imposition of the false god and the moon and all of that. This is the part that I really want to add. It's really important. These agreements. There's a pose, there's karmic, there's mission, energetic body, there's karmic, implants, programs, thought forms, and entities. And the same with the mental body, emotional body. This is important. You have all those on the physical body, and then you have this agreement you have with matter and antimatter, the pineal gland, which you teach, the reptilian brain. I've disconnected from the reptilian brain. And obviously, I've also disconnected from the DNA. I released the instructional codes of the different sets. And the final step is integration. So I'm going to teach how to release these agreements. First become aware of them, and then release them. So